All right. Three, two, one. We're back at it here on the Alaska Sports Talk podcast. So glad to have you along wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's through Spotify, Apple Podcasts, even through our website, alaskasportstalk.com, if you're listening there. And also, you can find us on YouTube. Just search Alaska Sports Talk as well. You can find all the clips from previous episodes, as well as our UAA coaches shows with Rusty Osborne and also Ryan McCarthy as well. Lots of stuff there on
Lots
our
of stuff. And
YouTube
you can
channel.
even, we started posting the full shows.
Hey,
So if
hey
you
now.
really want to watch Keaton and I in the full show and get the full experience, you can
I know
watch
you,
those too.
you see this face? 40
It's
minutes of it.
40, 40 to 50 minutes straight here, right
Just
there.
depends how we're feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Well, there's a lot
Uh,
of going on. So
there
it's
is.
usually, especially as we
Totally.
get closer to March.
Totally. As usual, Isaiah Freeman, Keaton Homer along with you, talking Alaska sports and a lot of stuff to cover this time of year in terms of high school sports. So we'll be touching on some high school basketball a little bit and then high school hockey because the high school hockey season for state championships is upon us. So we will touch on that. UAA, men's and women's basketball as well. So a lot of stuff to get to. But Isaiah, I know that you're packing up.
Yep.
You're not leaving the state or anything,
No,
but you're packing up.
no. Some of this cold, I wouldn't mind going to Hawaii for a little while, but not
Do we?
that's not going to be happening for a little while.
Hey, I'll throw this out there. This is like a year from now. I know that there's a football team that is going to, well, not even a year. We're already in 2025. Where am I living? I'm living in 2024. Uh, Football season.
Yeah.
Little team I know going to California.
Really?
So, oh yeah, yeah. So,
Oh,
yeah, just a little week 3 of the season, making the way down to the Oakland area.
might have
Uh,
to
so I don't know if the sports talk show can go on the road,
might
but
have to do that. Could be a great little road trip.
could be, could be fun. We're
Little
gonna,
little warmer.
yeah, a little warmer. Supposed to go to Six Flags, I guess. I don't know. Well, there's a whole bunch of grandiose plans. College
Nice.
football, you know. So
I'm
there you go. Just throwing it out
there
there.
we go.
Yeah,
I like that.
right. No, could be fun.
Well, until that time, yeah, I'm heading out for Soldotna, leave tomorrow for Division Two hockey the
Okay.
next few days.
All
Yep.
right. Yeah. That's yeah, already upon us here. D2 Hockey State Championships happening down on the peninsula. We will get to that and talk about the bracket here shortly for Division Two. Division One region tournaments have started as well,
Mm-hmm.
so we can touch on that and everything that's kind of happening with that. But I think maybe we want to start things off with a little bit of a recap of the conference clash
Yeah,
from Lumen Christi. Obviously, it was first year of the tournament, right?
that's
And
right. Yeah.
we were talking to John Warren about it last week, and he was excited about having the tournament, obviously, and how everything was going to come together. I didn't get the chance to make it.
I
Uh,
I was able to watch a few little things here and there from some clips and other stuff, but I was not able to make it over.
yeah, but the Unoclete, both the
Yeah,
boys and girls,
they're tough.
uh, impressive showing. The Unoclete girls beat Lumen Christi in the championship game 36-29. Unoclete boys beat Cordova 47-37. The MVPs on the girls' side, Amira Warren of Lumen Christi winning the MVP, and then on the boys' side for Cordova, John Itlong winning the MVP on the boys' side as well. But and I did the same thing that you did, and watching a couple of these tournament games, uh, I think the first year it seemed like a success. I
I
think they're going to go for round two, I would assume. You know?
Yeah, I think so. I think it is a I thought it would be a big success and talking with John, I think it was. It's definitely something that they're going to be looking forward to doing again, and it's a good way to get cross conference bracketing and kind of see each other before the state championships. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see some of the Southeast teams, especially some of the 2As, because really a lot for people in Alaska and even families that used to live in Petersburg or Metlakatla, some of those, they don't get to see them until they travel to the state championship if they make it. So, kind of a nice little feature for all of them to be able to do that.
No, it certainly is. I love the format of the tournament, and it's a unique tournament from the aspect of trying to get, these 2A teams from all across the state of Alaska together and not play, a conference opponent in the opening round game or even the semifinal rounds, the way that they try to bracket things. So,
Yep.
again, it's very unique from that standpoint. Uh, Read you off the rest of the all tournament team for the girls. Mentioned that Amira Warren was the conference clash MVP on the girls' side. The all tournament team comprised of Elizabeth Ivanoff out of Unalakleet, Susie Long out of Hooper Bay, Sahita Buffalo out of Metlakatla, Uriah Brusk out of Unalakleet, Raylyn Bradley out of Unalakleet, Marie Hausler out of Nanana, and Lily Mueller out of Lumen Christi, and then Violet Jack out of Unalakleet. So that is your all tournament team on the girls' side. For the boys' side, uh, with John Itlong out of Cordova as the MVP, tournament team comprised of Austin Barrett Bernard out of Sioux Valley, Paxton Comack out of Unalakleet, Brady Booth out of Metlakatla, Chico Jacob out of Cordova, Isaac Smith out of Unalakleet, Frank Guthrie, Metlakatla, Aiden Knutson, Petersburg, and Tanzo Nelson out of Lumen Christi, rounding out the all tournament team. So, very competitive games throughout the course of this tournament.
Yeah.
The championship games, the 36-29 close game between Lumen Christi and Unalakleet, and Unalakleet 47-37 victory over Cordova. I think that the way the tournament is organized, you're going to have close games.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I would not expect any blowouts, in that tournament, but I think it's just by nature of, the way that things are made there that you're going to get exciting basketball in that 2A tournament. So I certainly hope the folks at Lumen Christi and John Warren, once again, I'm sure they're already, on the hunt for next year. You kind of alluded
Oh,
to
yeah.
it in
You
last
have
week's
to.
episode.
Yep. You
So
have to.
already trying to get that conference clash year two underway, but a success in year number one, nevertheless. If you missed last week's episode, you can go back
Yep.
and you can find that interview with John Warren from Lumen Christi, the athletic director, and kind of give you all the recaps and the deets that happened at the conference clash 2A tourney. So, speaking of high school basketball, I don't know if you saw this, Isaiah.
Well, and it was small schools too. 1A,
Yeah,
2A. It was 1A teams. Yep.
this is crazy, right?
It's very crazy.
I can't even fathom, breaking the all-time record for points scored in a game in Alaska, right?
No.
Um, Let alone, I mean, 82. There you go. Just 82 points. 82 points put up by the Northway Warriors, Terrence Titus in a victory over Buckland, a 119-109
Yeah.
final. Now,
Uh,
let me remind you, high school basketball, 8-minute quarters.
8 minutes.
I don't know if I have seen 100 points scored in a high school basketball game in person in the state of Alaska. I don't.
Oh, really? Oh no, I have.
Have you?
Generally
It,
though, in 100-point games that I've seen, the other team isn't also scoring 100 points.
Fair. Okay.
The
That's
it's usually a blowout of some kind, 40, 50, 60 point kind of thing, blowout.
right.
But to have it that close,
A 10-point game, a 119 to 109.
well, and here's another thing. this I'm not even going to say anything. Thank you to Van Williams for writing a nice piece on this in the Alaska Sports Report. Van, I want to thank you for this article because inevitably during March Madness, since the 4A got the shot clock, I'm going to get questions. I'm not telling. I'm dead serious. I will get questions during the 1A 2A tournament. Why can't 1A 2A have that? Why does only 4A get that? And
You don't need it.
I'm literally just gonna point and say, read said article. because there is no reason for 1A and 2A to have a shot clock. I don't think it would ever come into play, and it obviously didn't. Because to your point, these quarters are shorter. It's only 8 minutes. You have to be getting up shots every 10 seconds.
Well, he was 33 of 55. 33 of 55.
10
That's
three-pointers.
insane.
That is pretty insane.
That is nuts.
And it
I
wasn't all
mean,
3-pointers. It was only 10. It's only
yeah,
30 points. 30 out of the
right.
82 are 3-pointers.
I mean, that's just yeah, I don't know. And they needed all 82. I mean,
Yeah.
you win by 10. Like yeah. Hey, Terrence, we're gonna need 82 out of you tonight.
Yeah.
Like, can you help us out? Like,
I'm really
and he
having a
came
feeling,
through.
really having a feeling that we're going to need you to score 82 if we're going to have a chance
What?
to win. I mean,
What? What kind
well,
of Kobe Bryant numbers do I need to put up? Like what?
well, and the crazy thing is, okay, that's now the top highest scoring game for any person in
Yeah,
Alaska history.
right.
So there was also somebody else, Ian Wyan from Teller versus Angwin,
Yeah.
that had 61, which was going to be before this
I
82 was top five,
I
which you just don't see. Nobody's cracked this and done
no.
anything with it since 2009, and then all of a sudden
Boom,
two
boom, boom.
week, not even the same year, same week.
I want to know. This would take a lot of research. I don't know if there's a way to find out. I mean, you have to go back through every single game that has been scored. Like, what's the highest scoring game,
Oof.
for a 4A girls boys player this year? Let's just say this
Yeah.
year. Like, I don't know how we can go about necessarily finding that. I mean, you would have to go back through every scorebook that the game has been kept on.
Well, some
I
people
mean,
might have. I know Max Preps. They have stats now. Excuse me. Not everybody puts their stats
right.
in there,
Exactly.
but you kind of you can have somewhat of an idea. But
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I mean, I was watching some of the highlights of that game because Alaska's news source had a little bit of video footage from that Northway game, and I was like, "What is going on?" Like just shot after shot, like
it was
holy cow.
wild.
But I mean, it's not just shot after shot from one team. I mean, the other teams do the exact same thing. Like it's just like
Yeah.
scores, all right, running down the floor, score, score. Like it's just like what in the world? And we were talking before we went on air. I didn't realize this. The court is actually a little smaller
Yeah, it is. Yep.
than many high school gyms and even the UAA gym, which when you make it to the state tournament, obviously it's 90 feet long, right? And it looked like from the video, this isn't a 90-foot long court just based
No,
upon the way the lines are drawn.
no,
Like
it's
it
definitely
looked
a
like I could
shorter
take a
court.
it looked like from half court to the top of the key, I could take a step and a half and be there. So I was like, huh, interesting.
So
So,
I just looked.
okay.
Okay, I can't. To your question, I got a little sidetracked because I was like, well, I wonder how he stacks up for the nation.
Yeah.
He's averaging 40 points a game right
Okay.
now. That puts him at third in the
In the
country,
nation?
in the nation. The top person out of Alabama, or no, out of Arizona, excuse me, is scoring 42.8 a game. And then somebody from Tennessee is scoring 40.3 a game. And the next one is out of Georgia, 38.4 a game. So right now he is third in the country.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Little 1A guy out there in
Well, and
Northway, Alaska,
so there's
dropping 40 points a game and is third in the nation in scoring.
okay. So as
Wow.
impressive as that is, get this. So Ian from Teller, who had the
Yeah.
61 points, he's scoring 44.8 points per game. That technically leads the nation.
That's insane.
Straight up. We have the first, and then with him being first, the fourth leading scorers in the country playing 1A
That's
basketball here in
crazy.
Alaska. Yeah.
What? I mean, just
God.
think, I mean, I'm flashing back to when we were at the Alaska Airlines tournament and we're watching the number three team in the nation, right?
Yep.
Hoover, Alabama, and they got just dudes,
Dudes
right? You're like,
everywhere.
okay, you're playing to I'm averaging 20 points a game, Oh, that's nothing. I'm doubling that. Like,
That,
what the
huh,
heck?
you
Like,
stink.
you put up
I'm scoring
kind of
44 a game.
you're going to the University of Tennessee and only scoring 20 a game. I'm out here dropping 20 or 40 points, 44 points a game. Like, come on,
Ian's
man.
averaging 44.8. So you round, that's 45 points a game.
Now, to be fair, all right. I don't how many can does it tell you how many games
No, it's,
they've played? Just out of curiosity.
well, I'm just looking off of that article. I can't tell exactly how
Yeah.
many. I'd have to
Okay.
look at their schedules.
Right.
The one, in fairness, to your point, the 1A schools generally don't play nearly as many games just
Right.
because of the cost of travel and where they have to go and back hauls and other things like
Right.
that. But I mean, you still have to put the ball in the hole. I
No,
mean,
no doubt. I don't
it's
dispute that.
that is crazy.
And
I
they
did not know that until I decided to look it up on Max Preps. I got a little sidetracked, but I'm
sidetrack
glad I did
squirrel.
because
That's crazy to think.
that's crazy.
No, that's insane, man. Like I don't know. Yeah, wow.
That's that is
Well, bragging rights. I
big
bet
time
if you
bragging
actually look
rights.
back further, you would find that, Alaska, based upon this,
Yeah, there'd be
we
some.
might
Yeah,
have more
absolutely.
than like we might lead the nation in scoring more often than we think, just based upon that. But uh interesting. I'd be curious to note at like the smaller levels at other states, like their 1A level, if it's similar scoring to what we see at the 1A games,
That
you
would be. You're
know,
right. That would be kind of
like is it
that would be
similar
kind of
style?
interesting.
Yeah. Like I'd be just really curious because like uh, I know in Oklahoma they have uh, not just 9-man football. They have I think 7-man
Well,
football.
Montana's got, or no, not Montana. Wyoming has 6 man.
You're right. Or maybe it was 6-man. Maybe it is 6-man.
Yeah, it's
And I
wild.
watched the 6-man football game, and I'm out in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma. And it's a really small podunk, like it's the West. It's like it's what you would think a rodeo town should be. Clearly, exactly that. And I'm watching 6-man football for the first time in my life, and like nobody's stopping anybody. And it is arena football, and it's played on grass. And I was just like, wow. Final score, 120 to
Oh,
86. I'm like 120 to 86.
holy
Like, what are we
smoke!
doing?
How long did that game take?
Oh, but
7 hours?
they have different rules though too, right? But anyway, yeah. I mean, the clock runs. I don't. There's not really well, there is an out of bounds, but the clock doesn't stop on out of bounds. Like it's different. So,
So
but
I found
anyway,
Northway's schedule,
okay, give it to me.
and they are currently 3-5. So they've played 8 games.
Okay, all right, all right. Well, that's fair.
I
Okay.
mean, it's not 3 or 4, so
No, no, but
it's not a ton,
in
but
comparison
it's still
to teams that
something.
play 15, 20,
Yeah.
25 games in a season, numbers could look a little bit different. And I'm not trying to take away from anything that Terrence Titus did in 82
No,
points.
no, 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 no.
I mean that's fantastic. That's an
That's
accomplishment. But with the way the record has been going, or at least, you know, it seems like it's going, I would not be surprised if next week somebody from 1A or 2A in some
yeah.
breaking it. I
Now
went for
that
85.
now that
Yeah.
we've talked about it, that's what's going to
Right.
happen.
Right. So sticking with our high school basketball theme, by the way, give a shout out to the Wasilla Warriors girls
Yeah.
basketball head coach, Jeannie Hebert-Truax. Wow, what an accomplishment. 600 wins. 600.
That's a lot of wins.
That's a lot of wins.
That is
Not
a
only a lot of
lot of
wins, but
wins.
you think about how many games, like we keep talking about how many games are in a season. Like to accumulate 600 wins in high school basketball, I mean, what do we average? What year is she in coaching now?
I don't.
34,
That's a good question. I
I
don't
think.
know.
I think I saw maybe 34.
Let me
Something.
see if I can find that.
Um, but if it is, I mean, so if it's 34 years that she's been doing it, you're averaging how many little simple math here, people? Hold on. I say simple math,
Radio math.
little division.
She's
So
in her third.
600. Go ahead.
She's in her 30th season. Yep.
Divide by 30. All right. So you're averaging 20 wins a year. Average. You have to average 20 wins a year to get to 600. Now, obviously, those wins include playoffs, right?
Right.
So, I mean, state tournaments, conference tournaments, so that accumulates. So you don't have to win 20 regular season games per year, right? But just 20 throughout the entire season, from start to state championship if you're fortunate enough to get that far. But 600, that's wow. Can't even fathom, you know, given how high school basketball works, and that's kind of without a year, right?
Right. The
2020. I mean,
2020, Wasilla was 6-7 in the 2020
okay,
2021 season. That was the weird season where
right.
people kind of had some games, and then we had a state tournament at the end that
Yeah.
out at Palmer. She's won the state championship 7 times.
Wow. Has a good chance to maybe do it again this year,
Yeah, on that
potentially.
point, I would say I think she has a real good chance. The best record she posted was 30-0 in the 2012-2013 season. And that
Wow.
was their third state championship in a row.
Wow.
And I would dare say I think they're going to get to that
Back to
again. I
back.
mean,
Yeah.
and I think an undefeated season. They are a
Think so.
juggernaut. They're a
Yeah.
juggernaut. I mean,
Well,
could somebody sneak up on them? Possibly, but I'm at this point, who could that be?
right.
Colonies beat them a couple times last year, but Layla Hayes wasn't, 100% during some of that, and she didn't play in one game. You
Right.
know, Mountain City, could Mountain City girls, Lonnie's got those girls playing really, really well. Could they do something? Possibly. I'll never rule anything out, but hey, right now, if they play at the pace that they are right now, and I don't see any signs of letting up,
Right.
that is a juggernaut. I mean, somebody who signed at University of Iowa, another
Yeah.
person who signed at UAA, and it wouldn't surprise me if there's a couple other that sign at Division two or JUCOs in the next year or two. So
Totally.
they're just loaded.
Totally. Totally. No, it'll be interesting to see what the Wasilla girls basketball team does here in the next couple 3 weeks because now you start
Hmm.
talking, you know, regular season for basketball wrapping up here in the next 2.5, 3 weeks. I mean, we're already at February 4th. So, I mean, March will be upon us, and then we'll have, your conference tournaments and things like that going on in the beginning of March.
Well,
So,
just so you know, Keaton, I saw it today. The they're trying
countdown?
to the countdown clock.
Okay. Yep.
30 days, 10 hours, 4 minutes, and 22 seconds till tip off.
All right. All right. I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
We should post that on the website.
we can do that. We can
Yeah.
absolutely
We
do
should
that.
do that. Totally do that.
I'm going to make a note. I'm going to make a note to do that
I like that.
so we can see that too.
Well, we'll stick with high school hockey or high school sports. We'll move to high school hockey because the state championships for Alaska high school hockey start this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Division two state hockey championships happening down in on the peninsula, held in Soldotna. So that'll be taking place. Isaiah's already got his bags packed. He's going to make his way
Yep.
uh, down to the peninsula after this episode. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if we're leaving right after
No,
this, but
no, it'll be tomorrow afternoon.
oh, okay, all
Yeah.
right, yeah, yeah. So, but the state championship bracket is out. If you go to ASAA365.com, you can find the D2 state bracket. Now, we're going to give you the seedings and the matchups in the opening round. And then, Isaiah, we can kind of touch on maybe some of. I know
Yep.
that some fans out there have been a little like they've questioned the seedings. Why are these teams where they are? That kind of thing, and we can kind of
Yep. We can touch
dive
on
into
it.
that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
but give you the opening round matchups. All right, the number one seed, Soldotna Stars. All right, they are playing the number eight seed, Delta. All right, that is your 6:30 game on Thursday. All right, 4 o'clock game. Your 4-5 seed matchup, North Pole and Kenai Central. The 11 a.m. game to get things started. The defending champion, the Houston Hawks,
Yep.
the 3 seed, taking on the number 6 seed, Juneau Douglas Crimson Bears. And the 1:30 afternoon game, the number 2 seed, Palmer Moose, taking on Tri Valley. So again, Soldotna the 1 seed, Palmer the 2 seed, Houston the 3, North Pole the 4, Kenai the 5, and Juneau the 6, Tri Valley the 7, and Delta the number 8 seed in this year's tournament. Now, if you were to ask some fans of certain high schools, they would be like, "What the heck, man? Um, why is my team here?" And this happens every year, though, guys. I mean, come
It
on.
does.
I
It
mean,
does.
fans of these teams obviously passionate. I'm a fan of teams, right? And I always feel like if my team gets like, why did we not get the number one or whatever? Okay, when the NCAA March Madness bracket comes out, and if
Hmm.
Oklahoma's fortunate to make it, like, what the heck? Yeah. Anyway, neither here nor there. But what do we think? What have we been hearing, Isaiah, in terms of some of the seeding issues potentially here in the D2 bracket?
Well, we definitely heard a lot about it once I posted the brackets and kind of expected that. Um, had a lot of people, well, Soldotna's hosting, so of course they get the number one seed. That's how it goes, blah, blah, blah. Well, I can assure everybody that's not the case. I'm in the room. That does not happen. There's no Soldotna people, just like there isn't any other people from any other schools in there doing anything. It's me and a couple other people from ASAA staff that are doing that. And we basically go down the criteria. And how it works is very simple. I'm not going to get into the weeds of it, but I'm just going to give an overview. Is first, hockey has two at-large berths. So you take the teams that did not qualify as an at-large and you run them through this system. Now, this system is kind of can be a little complicated and some people might not understand it, but you're basically, in essence, you're comparing all of those teams that are not in, you are comparing them with each other. And when you compare them with each other, head to head matters, conference record matters. Well, conference record, your record against conference opponents or the others in that pool, so to speak. Once all that's set, there's a point value system based on how everybody does in those criteria pieces. The team that has the most points, the top two, are the two automatic qualifier or the two at-large selections. Once that's in, now those 8 people, those 8 teams that are in the state championship are basically now run through the exact same criteria, the exact same stuff. And I can tell you, let me pull it up real fast. It's basically each team in the pool is given a point value of 0.5 or 1 against each other team being considered. Points are assigned using the following ranked criteria: head to head, then record against common opponents at all classifications, then record against common state qualifiers at that classification, then record against common opponents at that classification. Winning percentage must have at least a 25% difference. Sometimes there's a tie, and when there's a tie, which happened, there's a flip of a coin.
Ooh.
And that happens because you go through all these different things and you're at some point there's nothing else to compare because you've already done head to head, you've already done all these things. So there's a flip of a coin. Now, the flip of a coin didn't let one team into the tournament and the other team didn't make it. We didn't get to coin flips for that, for at-larges, but we did get to some coin flips. Now, that being said, that's the criteria. That's what the ASAA board approved. So it's not something that I can see these teams and go, well, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. And, well, I'm just going to fix it here. It's not something that we as
Right.
the ASAA staff can do. We can't do that. Now, what some people forget is that this is a look of the whole season. It's
Right.
not just the conference tournament, which is the most recent thing. So, for instance, Soldotna finished third in the conference tournament. Palmer took first. Kenai took second. So, when Soldotna comes out as the number one seed, people started freaking out like, that's not right. Palmer should be number one. Kenai should be higher. All these different things. When in reality, those things mattered, yes, as part of record against opponents and head to heads, but it's a whole season picture.
Right.
So it's basically trying to do what the RPI does for basketball. Here's a perfect example. A couple of years ago, or just last year, the Colony girls, based on these criterias, was the number one seed going into the 4A girls state championship. People
For
freaked
basketball,
out
right?
like for basketball. People
Okay.
freaked out like, why isn't Wasilla? Wasilla just crushed Colony in the conference championship. That's not right. That's not right. Again, that's a whole season picture. On the boys' side, a few years ago, when South ended up winning the state championship, they had lost to East in the conference finals, and they were given a 6 seed. Well, that's because the beginning part of the year, they were losing to lots of people. And
Yeah.
then they got hot towards the end. So that's how the seedings worked. I prefer, and this is my recommendation, and I've told hockey coaches this is not going to be a surprise to any hockey coach or any coach of a team sport. I have begged team sports to go to the RPI like basketball and soccer do. And the reason why is because you can kind of see how the team is standing over the whole course of the season. It's not a secret. It's not a surprise. It's not anything. You can see how you're ranking based on your record, your opponent's record, and your opponent's
Yeah.
opponent's record.
Throughout the entire year.
The
Right.
the difference the problem with this is even though ASAA we want to be able to show people where they stand, you technically with this criteria, you can't do it because you have to have somebody at the at large and then you have to know who the 8 teams are before you can even run it. So you're
Yeah.
automatically assuming that 8 teams are in when it could be other teams, those kind of things. So you
Right.
just can't run it until everything is known. And so that's, again, I know that doesn't give a lot of comfort to teams that feel like they've been slighted or anything like that, but that's the way it is. And we don't have, I don't have the power in the office since I run hockey. I can't just say, hey, we're going to flip it. We're going to switch it or
Right.
something like that. I just can't
Yeah.
do that.
No, no, you can't. You can't. Totally understand that.
Yeah.
And the issue with conference championship games, I mean, this happens all the time now in college
Yep.
sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
The debate, well, if they didn't win their conference championship game, can we really seed them higher than the team that they lost to? You
Yeah.
know? Yeah, I mean, yes, you can. Right. I mean, Alabama goes undefeated in the SEC, loses to Georgia in an SEC championship game. Their one loss is to Georgia, but Georgia lost twice during the regular season or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You know what? Alabama can be ranked higher than Georgia in that instance. And I'm not saying that this is a similar situation, but you can't penalize teams for if you had a great regular season, right? You played 12, 14 games and you had a slip up in the conference championship game. Like that shouldn't be your undoing of why you potentially went from, being a, quote unquote one seed to, oh, you're now the 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
And the opposite, right? Oh, you didn't do that well during the regular season, but for some reason you got hot in your conference championships and you made it and you won it. All right, so you were on the outside looking in. Well, that should not automatically vault you to being the number 1 or number 2 seed in your
No.
in the
No.
in the tournament. So
You win a conference. You win a
yeah.
conference just like in the
Right.
NC2A basketball
Right.
tournaments. You get an automatic bid, but
Right.
that doesn't mean
Exactly.
you're seeded number 1 or 2. That's
Right.
And that's part of now. I'm not going to sit here and be the biggest RPI defender and that it's perfect and all that. It's not. But for
No.
Alaska, and I've been consistent in this my entire time in Alaska, where not every team plays a balanced schedule and all the same teams because of travel and expenses and all those things. It is the best system that we
Yeah,
have. And
totally.
some
Yeah.
people will say, well, just get a few people in the room. I can promise you this. I can
Don't need
promise you
committees.
this.
Don't need committees.
We don't need a committee because as soon as you put a committee together for it, this is what happens. I can tell you right now, people on this side will be defending their team. The people from this region or conference will defend this one, and so on and so forth. And it'll just be gridlock. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff happened with wrestling for the longest time. And when I first
Yep.
started, it was a total nightmare. And we got rid of that. We moved to
Yeah.
track wrestling. So it just, again, it's not perfect.
No.
I'm not going to say it is perfect, but for the so far, it's the best system I have seen. And I would really, all you hockey coaches that are listening to this, I know I'll be telling you all this weekend and all the D1 coaches next that you should be moving to the RPI because in secret, Keaton, in secret, I have been running the RPI behind the scenes
Dun dun dun.
for Division 2 and Division 1 for hockey. And so I know where
Interesting.
all those teams are
Huh.
in the RPI.
Interesting.
But we're not going to broadcast that now.
No. Nope.
I'm not going to broadcast that now. But hockey coaches, come see me. I can tell you where you are in the RPI. I know.
Isaiah's got a car parked in the parking lot. He'll open the trunk. He'll show you all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We might have to make it quick because it's cold, but
Come, look,
get
look
over
what I
here. Get over here.
Look what I got.
Get over here.
Yeah. Anyway, uh, by the way, got me thinking when we mentioned committees, on your own. I don't know if you've ever seen this press conference with Mike Leach. He goes on a
Oh,
rant about committees. It's great.
oh,
It's fantastic.
I love
Absolutely
Mike Leach rants
pure
are
gold.
great.
Pure gold. I
I'm gonna
love
go.
it.
I'm gonna Google
So
that after
you
this.
should.
After we're
You
finished
should.
taping.
So D2, anyway, D2 hockey championships coming up this weekend down the peninsula. Nevertheless, it's going to be great,
It
exciting,
will
fun.
be.
The Division One hockey championships for state are next weekend
Hmm.
out in the Valley. So right now they're having their conference tournaments this week as well. And I know the Cook Inlet Conference got underway with theirs yesterday. Bartlett had a huge victory over the Service
Yeah.
Cougars, 11-2, which I was like, whoa, whoa, 11
Yeah. Whoa.
goals. Like,
That is
dude,
whoa.
and be honest, brutally honest here, Bartlett historically has not had a fantastic, hockey team.
Well, no,
But
they're combined with East. That's why there's only
right,
7 teams.
exactly. Yeah.
They don't have
And
enough.
right. And 11-2. I don't know the last time that Bartlett put up 11 goals. Like
I,
I couldn't tell you. Like, but they
it
did
has
it
to have been a
yesterday.
long time.
Did it yesterday. So impressive win to get that tournament underway. They also had a couple of more games today. I don't know if any of those scores have been reported.
I haven't seen any. Bartlett is playing South, and that's the 6. Yeah, that's the 6-3 matchup.
Okay.
And then Diamond's playing Eagle River. That's the 4-5 right now. They're
Gotcha.
saying it's live, but yeah,
It's not live.
nothing's been reported. Nothing's been reported
Not
yet.
live. Not live. So yeah, so the conference title or championships underway. Rail Belt also doing theirs as well. West Valley Colony, Wasilla, and Lathrop
Well,
participating in that one.
I
Yeah,
don't think they have
they don't.
they don't have one. I think their regular season ends this week. They've got a few.
Oh,
They've got
okay.
a few.
I
They've
thought
got a
for
few
some.
conference games this weekend.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah, because there's only
got it.
4 teams.
Right.
Soccer started doing that. Some of the other sports have started to do that.
Right. Okay. So they just have a little bit of a longer season. Got it.
Yep.
That makes sense. Makes sense. So anyway, we'll keep our eye on that as we get ready to go into the Division One state tournament. Now we're gonna sidetrack here just a tad, a little bit of a sidetrack
Sidetrack.
with some news that
Well, it's
came out of
big
the Anchorage
news.
School District. It is. This is huge.
And it's going to impact things, no doubt.
Depending on what happens and what the final decision is made. Now, there's still a little bit of a ways to go in terms of getting a final decision on this, but with the budget being released for the Anchorage School District and proposed budget cuts, there are some high school sports that are on the chopping block, one of which is high school hockey. Uh, this does not affect every, well, it would essentially affect every team, but
Hmm.
in the Anchorage School District, 7 hockey programs would go non-existent immediately starting next year,
Right.
right? So it got me thinking, Isaiah, if this was to happen, all right, number one, would anybody like similar with softball and baseball outsource it, want to pick it up and try to help front the cost, right, to
Yeah.
help keep these teams around? Number two, all right, if that does not happen, how does that affect state championships going into next season? Because now you're left with 4 D1 teams, right?
Yep.
Uh, I mean, from a state championship standpoint, I mean, you telling me all 4 of them make the state championship? Like,
Well, it would
I don't know.
definitely there would definitely be some effect. And what does that mean? Does that end up meaning that, it's all combined back into one division again? Because
I
it's
would think you would
only
have
it's
to.
only 4 teams. Uh, I you bring up outsourcing. It's so expensive. Who does that? It wouldn't surprise me would the Scotty Gomez Foundation try and do something like that. Well, it's a little different with the girls. There's only 4 teams instead of
Right.
7. You know, it's a
I think I saw the preliminary
it's tough.
numbers for high school hockey, what ASD says they spend on high school hockey. I think it was right around 1.2 million, right? Between that's hey,
That
so
seems
between
aw- that seems awfully high.
I that's what I saw in the budget meeting tonight on the school district. So
What in the world are they doing with a
I
million
don't
too?
dude, don't ask me. Like, I don't know.
Man,
I don't spend their money,
holy
right? But that's
smokes!
at least what they said they budgeted, right? Or at least spent on high school hockey, right? So I mean, you think
Oof,
about ice rink time, officials, I guess you're throwing in coaching staff addendas right there when
right.
coaches get paid. Okay, so I think those are pretty much the 3 biggest expenditures,
Well, it's
I think.
the
Transportation, okay, buses, yeah,
transportation.
right. There's another one, but so those 4 things, I don't know what else would be factored in there as far as cost and
Well,
things like
equipment,
that.
there'd be some equipment every now and then kind of
Could be
thing.
sure, but yeah, I think it was over a million. Like, so I'm like, whoa, okay, all right, but um, so I don't know. I mean, it was crazy. Like,
Well,
okay,
when I look at this massive budget shortage that they have, you hear this all the time, or they're going to cut sports or they're going to cut this. But when you look at the number, even let's say, Keaton, let's say, and I'm a little skeptical on that number of a million.
hold on. I got somebody that knows stats.
The stats, you do have a connection in that way. Let's say it is a million.
How much does ASD spend on high school hockey? Number, please.
Just the rental for ice time is $250,000.
So I'm being informed just the rental's $250,000 for ice
Okay.
time,
$100,000 for coaches.
$100,000 for coaches.
That doesn't count officials.
Does not include officials.
It
So
does.
350
It doesn't. It doesn't account for busing, transportation.
busing, transportation, which we were talking about, right?
Time you pay staff to take gate and do all the different things.
Staff to take tickets. Forgot about that. What are we looking at total number? Close to a million? Close to a million ish in cost for the Anchorage School District. So, anyway,
That
if it
seems
goes away,
well. Let's say that it is. Let's say that it is a million. Let's say that it
okay,
is 1 million.
yes.
Again, I preface I'm skeptical on that number, but let's say that it's a million. And the budget shortfall is what? 100 million?
111, yeah.
111 million. So we're going to cut 1 million.
1%.
out of the 111 million. Not saying that I'm not saying that we
No,
shouldn't or
yeah,
anything. I'm not saying any
right.
of that. But that cut is not this massive cut that's going to solve problems. There's got to be obviously they're talking about other things. I'm not obviously they're talking about lots of other things and staffing. To me, a lot of this has always been what is your allocation of resources? That's
Sure. Yeah.
it's not just ASD. I'm talking major colleges. I'm talking UAA. I'm talking all sorts of people and nonprofits and other public school districts and even private school districts I work with. To me, there's well, even some would argue the state of Alaska, and I would be one of them. A misallocation of resources. Where are some of those things being done? Now, I think, and that's why I work at ASAA as part of it, I believe that educational based activities are a big deal and you learn a lot through them. I know that's
Totally.
another reason why you coach. That's why I coached for a long time. I know that. That's why I know that someone you know that you're close to spent a lot of time in activities and doing those things. So I would hate to see hockey go away. I would,
Right. Well,
especially just after, and this is a selfish thing on my part, but I'm throwing it out there. Just after I had this brilliant negotiation with the Sullivan Arena to get high school
I was
state
thinking of
hockey in
that.
there, that hurts. Ouch. But
Yeah.
be that as it
Like,
may, even if it would stay at Wasilla, I would still want it
right.
to be there
Oh,
because
totally.
I do think it's all of that is valuable as far as those. So it is not.
And
It's
and
a
let's yeah, go ahead.
complicated answer on
And
what do you do.
let me say, this is not the death nail for high school hockey in ASD. All right. This is not like it's not a foregone conclusion that
No,
high school hockey is going to go away. All right. This is a proposal. This is one of many things that has been thrown out there of trying to get to a balanced budget, right? And high school hockey wasn't the only thing thrown in there. I mean, they had all
swim
middle
dive,
swim
swim dive was
dive,
in there,
all middle school sports, and high school gymnastics
right?
was also all thrown in there as ways to try to alleviate the budget. So again, none of those things have immediately happened, right?
No,
Those are still in the foreseeable future a part of high school sports and middle school sports, all right? But, but if, and we like to play if games sometimes here.
well, and it's
Uh,
on the table for a reason because it is,
yes,
as far as sports, it's one of the most expensive sports you can
definitely.
have because of the ice time. Ice time is obviously a
Right.
major expense.
And well, it's just like that's why swim dive is on the chop. You think about swimming and diving, you're like, what the heck kind of expense do you have for swim dive? Well,
Pool rental,
ASD's pool rental, which is
pool rental,
crazy.
yeah,
A lot of people don't realize that every single pool at all the schools, whether it's Chugach, Service, Bartlett, Diamond, wherever your pool is located, it's all run by the municipality,
right,
right? It has really nothing to do with the school itself, even though it's on ASD property, right? Which has
exactly.
always been mind blowing to me. Like, wait a minute, we have
Well, because the
all these pools
maintenance
on,
and the upkeep of that,
right?
the schools can't
True,
handle that.
true,
Well,
but
and you're absolutely right. And people, because I spend a lot of time at the gate at Swim Dive, people wonder why are you charging? Should be free. All this. Have you seen where we're at? We are
yeah.
in a pool, and that is not cheap.
No, it is not. The maintenance on pools is very expensive,
Oh,
but
brutal.
a lot of people don't realize, I think, that yeah, the school district pays for the rental through the
Yep.
muni, right, for to be able to use the facilities, even though they're all on a ASD property, right? So
And we're all about facts. Well, I
facts.
mean, we
We're
say
trying
it
to be, yeah,
jokingly. We say it jokingly, but it's true. I mean, a lot of people don't have all the information, and that's we try and tell you the facts that as we know. Yeah, so I'm very curious. I know we'll be keeping our eye out on it, and I know the next board meeting in February in a few weeks will be interesting, and I'm sure it will be discussed on
Oh.
what that all means.
I just got word. Breaking news.
Breaking. Ooh, I like breaking news.
Dun, 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 dun. Apparently, also in the budget, the dome contract was also cut.
Oh,
So
oh,
that impacts soccer and track and field,
yeah.
obviously. So interesting. All
And
right.
very interesting. I did not know that.
Yep, I didn't either. That news just coming across the
Thanks
desk.
for
So
stats and research.
yep,
Tell stats
perfect.
and research. Thank you.
But there's a lot of stuff that this budget proposal is going to affect in terms of sports potentially down the line. But as of right now, nothing immediate, right? No changes as of right now. But come fall, uh,
There's going to be
never know.
differences. There will be
Pretty
differences.
huge.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge. It's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out
Yeah.
over the next little while. I know we're running along here on this episode. We're going to wrap it up. UAA sports, men's and women's basketball. Men's team had a split finally after
Yeah.
they lost 6 in a row, heartbreaking fashion. The
Yeah.
win they picked over Simon Fraser. Oh my goodness gracious! Okay. Also need to realize, like, if you're wondering, hey, why wasn't Keaton at the game on Saturday? I was in my bed, and you can probably tell by my voice all day Saturday. I've been broadcasting UAA basketball for over 15 years. I had never missed a game due to sickness, and that is the first one I missed. And so my apologies, but I had no business calling a basketball game. I had no voice. I had 101 tip. Like
That's,
it was not fun.
yeah, you can't
So
really call a game if you have no voice.
no, no,
If you
it would
literally
have been
have no
bad.
voice, there's
Uh,
not a, whether you had a fever or
this,
not, you
yeah,
can't
this is.
talk. That's a problem.
I don't want to. I'm going to make light of RFK Jr.'s voice, but mine was very similar. Right? And how
Yeah.
raspy his voice is
It
and
is
everything.
definitely raspy.
I was just like, yeah, I feel like, yeah, interesting. So, my apologies that I missed Saturday's game, but UAA man able to bounce back with a victory. Hassan Harrington hitting a game-winning shot against Simon Fraser. Simon Fraser had a chance to win, and their game-winning attempt literally hung on the rim and fell off.
Oof.
I was like, oh my gosh, if these guys lose 7 in a row that way, like that would just be heartbreaking. Men's basketball team is on the road this weekend. We also have an interview with Rusty Osborne as well. So Brad Lowers has that weekly coaches interview. We'll drop that later this week. We'll also catch up with Ryan McCarthy as well. The UAA women's basketball team, by the way, rolling still at the top of the GNAC. Should make mention. We noted that Jeannie Hebert-Truax picked up her 600th win.
Yeah,
Ryan McCarthy picked up win number 300 at
yeah, he
UAA.
did.
So
Congratulations,
congratulations.
coach.
Yes, huge win. Came against his former school, his alma mater, Northwest Nazarene. So a big victory for Ryan McCarthy and the UAA women's basketball team. They play this Saturday. Only one game on tap for the women's basketball team. They take on UAF this Saturday, 7 o'clock at the Alaska Airlines Center. So I know it's a brief UAA sports recap, just given due some time constraints, but we'll be sure to talk more UAA hoops in future episodes as well, especially as we get closer into March and postseason play as well. So, Isaiah, anything before we sign it off?
Well, just congratulations, the Anchorage Wolverines picking up 2 big wins against the Fairbanks Ice Dogs this past weekend. Those games were full, like we thought. They were
Yeah,
very, very, very full.
I saw that. I think
Very
it was
full.
like almost 4,000
Yep.
one night, right? Just a little
Yeah.
shy of that.
Just a little shy of 4,000 and just a little shy of 4,000 again on the next night. It was a big full weekend. It was loud. It was a lot of fun in there.
Good. That's the
Yeah.
way the Sullivan should be. That's
Absolutely.
awesome. The way it should be. So I'm glad to see that the Anchorage faithful, and not even just Anchorage, but Fairbanks faithful, making the trip down.
Fairbanks faithful were definitely there.
Yep. So very, very cool. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Alaska Sports Talk podcast. Be sure you like and subscribe, follow wherever you get your podcast. Be sure you keep an eye out for the next couple of episodes of the UAA coaches shows that are going to drop from the Alaska Sports Talk podcast as well. For Isaiah Freeman, I'm Keaton Homer signing it off saying good night and support Alaska high school sports.